This particular story happened in South Africa, and it will make you to ask yourself, do you even need to love anybody? Do you need to give someone your heart? Because I've covered so many stories where girls fall in love with men and they pay gruesomely for it. Either they lose their family members or they even lose their own lives. And so it makes me ask myself, is love really necessary? Do we need to risk our lives by putting our lives in the hand of some psychopath? And before we jump into the story, don't forget to subscribe if you like crime content. Let's go. This is Naledi Letoba. She is a 21-year-old student who met Obed, this guy. Obed is a 19-year-old guy who happens to be a first-year student in the university, and Naledi was in her second year. She was his senior in every way, both age and grade. Two of them were in different higher institutions. They were not in the same school, but Naledi was living on her own. Though she had neighbors, she had an apartment that she was sharing with other people, she was staying on her own because her family house was far away from where her college was located. Obed, on the other hand, was living with his parents. He was going to the uni, going to school, but his parents' house was close to his own college, and so he just went from home. It was cheaper, it was just convenient. Obed was described to be a very shy, kind, cute, quiet-looking guy who didn't want any trouble or got into any confrontation with anybody. He was described as timid and, lovable. Naledi, on the other hand, was a very happy, vibe-filled girl who was, out and about and enjoying her life. She was a young girl. She was 21. She's in the uni. She's having fun. She's beautiful. She even had a tattoo of her name and her date of birth on her chest. That's how to show you how much life was sweet in the girl. She was so happy and she was such a vibe. And along the line, she met Obed. And she just liked Obed. Obed was calm, cute, timid, and not like other guys that would jump at her. And so she kind of likes the vibe that Obed came with. And so because the vibe was really good, Obed liked her and she liked Obed. They began to date. They became boyfriend and girlfriend. And it was said that occasionally, or rather more frequently, Obed would take his father's truck and drive to Naledi's house where he would spend a lot of time with her. And nobody really knew what was going on, but I believe they were doing boyfriend and girlfriend stuff. And they will always be together in Naledi's house because of course Naledi was not coming over to Obed's family house. Obed would go to her hostel and her apartment and spend time with her. And this was going on for a while until something crazy happened. Pay attention. Remember I told you that Naledi is a very vibe-filled, active, young, beautiful lady who had a tattoo on her body and was just enjoying her young age. It could be possible that Obed wasn't the person she wanted to settle for. It could be possible that she just liked having Obed around as a friend. Like I said, when they were behind closed doors, we don't know what happened. I've seen so many cases of young guys simping over girls that were like above their age and above their grade. You understand? So it's possible that she just had Obed around as somebody who would give her companionship, someone who would probably do assignments for her, that kind of vibe. But Obed, on the other hand, was taking this thing seriously. He felt like this was the girl, and because she likes me, I will spend the rest of my life with her. He was 100% into this with her. And this would later prove to be the reason why tragedy would strike. So they were doing their boyfriend and girlfriend lovey-dovey and enjoying each other's company, and time was passing. Now it was Naledi's birthday in April. Naledi was turning 21 officially. You understand? When someone gets into a new year, they say they are 21, but they've not gotten to the actual month. So April is her month, and now it's official. She's 21. And so she throws this birthday party. She enjoys the birthday party. She has so much fun at the birthday party. And we don't have too much details on what happened at the birthday party. And we don't know if Obed was there, but this birthday party was the bomb. People came and it was so much fun. Remember, Naledi is a vibe. She's a party girl. She's an enjoyment kind of person who likes enjoyment. But after this birthday party, the dynamic between the two of them kind of changed. This is what happened. In May, Obed was seen very, very distressed. He was very angry. And he showed up to Naledi's house pissed, like angry. It is not clear what made Obed angry at that point, because after studying this case, I found out a couple of things. That party that happened, that Naledi's birthday party, Obed was not there. But it's possible that he heard, this is allegedly, now I'm not sure, it's possible that he heard that some things went down at that birthday party and that some other guys had some fun with his girlfriend, and so he was just pissed. He came to Naledi's house to confront her about this. Now, when Obed showed up to her house, he wasn't that shy, cute, timid boy anymore. He was angry and vicious. The neighbors saw it, everyone saw it. He was like a different person. He was like a monster, fuming with anger. Obed later admitted to the fact that Naledi was the one that told him that she cheated on him, that she had an affair and that she's sorry about it, but that she has to, end the relationship with him, and that was what made him pissed, and that was why he came to confront her and, see if he could resolve the issue with her. The date that he came to her house was 19th of May, 2019. That was when he came to her house. That was when all of this angry confrontation was happening. So he comes to her, he confronts her, they get into an argument, they go into her room. Neighbors didn't know what happened anymore. So they went back and forth, and before you know it, Obed left. Obed just left the house, went into his father's truck and just drove off. And everywhere was kind of awkwardly quiet, and everybody thought, okay, couples have gotten their issues sorted and, we can move on with our day-to-day. But that was not what happened. Obed went back home and he was angry and fuming, and he felt like he had to prove a point. And so he went to his father's kitchen, grabbed a knife, he hid it in his father's truck, and then he went back into his room to plot. After plotting for a while, he went back into the truck and then he drove straight back to Naledi's apartment. This time when he showed up, he asked Naledi to come out. He told Naledi, see, I know we have issues, just come out, let's talk about it. I don't want to end our relationship, please just come. And he was able to convince Naledi to come outside. Naledi came out, not knowing the plan that the guy had. He also convinced her again to get into the truck and they would drive to somewhere and then they can discuss at that location. Rookie mistake. Naledi got into the truck. How do you serve somebody breakfast and then they come back to you and tell you to enter their car and you enter their car? Anyway, this is what happened. He drove her to this location and the place was very lonely. No one was there, and that was when he said, okay, let's sort this out. They started talking and, the talk quickly became an argument became confrontational, and they began to quarrel back to back. You cheated on me. You're not the kind of person I want. How can you do this to me? And you don't live up to my expectations. And it was just back and forth. So while they were doing these arguments, this shouting in this lonely area, Naledi sparked and lost it. She told him that he was not anything that she wanted and that he wasn't up to the standard that she lives for, and that was when Obed lost it. Obed pulled out his knife and attacked her with it. He stabbed her and he ended her life right at that spot. But the things that he did next is what made me question if this guy is actually sane. Maybe he's a psychopath and you people are calling him cute, calling him quiet. This is what happened. After Obed had finished stabbing this girl and ending her life, he did not stop there. He carried her body, he put her into the truck, his father's truck, and then he drove to a filling station. He bought petrol, he bought an adequate amount of petrol, and then he put the petrol back in the truck and drove to an open field in a more lonely area. He took Naledi down from the truck, put her on the floor, poured the petrol over her, and then he started thinking, if I just burn her body, they might be able to identify her and link her death back to me. Maybe they will even find evidence of me ending her life. While he was doing all of this, the knife he used to stab her was still in Naledi's neck while she was on the floor. Obed came up with a very nasty idea. He decided to disfigure her body to the extent that the police will not be able to identify her before he burnt her. So this is what he did. He first of all cut out Naledi's tattoo, the one that she has on her chest. He cut it out because he knows that, okay, that's the first thing that they will use and identify her. He cut it out. And then he first of all started scratching and mangling her face with different objects he could find. He used stones to scratch, he was just disfiguring her. Naledi didn't deserve what he did to her. But think of any gruesome thing someone could do to a body. He did it to her body in order to disfigure her and make her unrecognizable. After he has done all of this to her body, now she was in this very unrecognizable state. He then poured petrol on her and lit her on fire. This particular guy, this 19-year-old boy, this 19-year-old timid 100-level student that just entered university. Did I mention that he cut off her two breasts? I don't know what he did with the bread, but he cut it off. He just was looking for a way to disfigure her to the extent where no one will be able to identify her. He cut it off, and it's not clear what he used it to do, but he cut it. God. After he had finished doing all of this and he looked back at his work, he was satisfied. He said, okay, now I've disfigured her to the extent where no one will be able to identify her. Good. He got into his truck. He went to a car wash nearby. He washed the car, tried to wash off all the blood, cleaned off all the evidence, and just make sure that there's no traces to him. Immediately he was done cleaning his car, he drove back to Naledi's apartment and went to ask her neighbors, have you seen Naledi? I'm looking for her. Where is she? And they told him, Naledi left with you now. What are you talking about? You're the one that came here and told her to come outside. You guys got into the truck and left. Now you're coming to come and ask us where she is. He said, no, that this is what happened. He took her to the place and then they were discussing. Naledi got angry and Naledi left him and took an Uber and, just left him. So he has been worried. He has been looking for her, and that's why he decided to come back to the apartment and ask them. So they said, oh, that's what happened. Sorry. Okay, we don't know. She's not here. So what will happen is if she comes back, we'll let you know. Don't worry yourself. Naledi can get angry sometimes, but she'll be. They were even consoling him. They were telling him sorry. They were telling him not to worry, that this their couple issue, they will sort it out, encouraging him and telling him not to be bothered, not knowing that this boy will. God, let's keep going. Just pay attention. Things began to become serious when the family of Naledi was trying to reach Naledi. Naledi is a very vibey girl that goes to parties and enjoys her life, but she always communicates with her family, especially her mother. She's always talking with her mother, gisting. They're best of friends. So that particular day, the family was sending messages, calling, no replies. No replies for a whole day. That's unlike Naledi. And so they begin to call her friends. They ask her friends. They're like, we don't know where she is. We don't know. We'll be looking for her too. So the family becomes worried and they file a missing persons report. And the police began to ask questions and just began to do like light investigations, because Naledi is 21. She's an adult. She has the right to go missing by herself. Like she has the right to cut off from family and run away, and she's an adult. You understand? So they have to be sure that she didn't have issues with family and decided to cut them off. And you understand? But now, first day has passed, second day has passed, days were going. It's almost a week now. And mind you, while all of this time was passing, Obed, the guy that ended her life, was always going back to her apartment to ask her roommates, her housemates, please, where is Naledi? Always crying, oh my God, where's my girlfriend? What did you say happened to her? She has not come back. You need not see her in school. Just playing the victim game, crying, and the housemates were buying it. They were consoling him. They were telling him, sorry, that don't worry, she will come back, that we don't know where she is. And police was also doing investigation. It got to the extent that Naledi's parents had to come to the area where she lives, like to come there by themselves and ask questions by themselves. They even gave the police the address of the auntie of Naledi, who also lived close to the apartment, just in case they need to talk to anybody in person. And they were doing their best to find their child. Time was going. And in cases like this, the first 48 hours of someone going missing is very, very key, because if they were kidnapped or anything, if you don't get any message, it's possible that they'll end the person's life. The chances of finding that person alive is very low. So the urgency was very, very pressing. But at this point, the police had already discovered the disfigured body that was left in the remote area. But they didn't know that it was Naledi. There was no identifying factor, but they just carried this body. They took it to the morgue and they tagged the body a Jane Doe, unidentified body. And they were just like, okay, let's try and see if we can find any clues that will lead us to what happened to this person, or even who this person is. So while this was happening, Naledi's parents were raising the alarm and filing different police case reports and doing their best to find their daughter. And the police were able to kind of like piece the puzzle together and tell the parents like, we found the body. Come and check if it's your child. Just come and check. We're not saying it's your child, but nobody can identify the body. And you're saying you're looking for your daughter. So why not come and just check? So the family came, and when they first saw Naledi's body, they didn't know that it was Naledi. They couldn't identify her. They were like, there's nothing. They were looking for her tattoo. They couldn't find the tattoo. They were looking for any sign, but they couldn't find anything. Until the mother mentioned to the police that Naledi had gotten a golden tooth not too long ago. And so the police were like, golden tooth? Oh yeah, they opened the mouth of the dead body, and immediately they found the golden tooth. This was Naledi's body. They were able to identify that this was the dead body of Naledi. The family was devastated. who would do this to their daughter and why? While Obed was doing all the disfiguring, he forgot about the gold tooth. He forgot. A case that was once a missing persons case is now a homicide case. It's now a murder case. Now the police had to employ more hands on deck to find out who this killer was and make sure that the person doesn't strike again. While all of this was happening, Obed's father wanted to take the truck out one day for a quick drive. And that was when he noticed that at the trunk of the truck, there was some suspicious looking blood stain. Blood stain? He hardly used this truck. It's Obed that uses this truck. Blood stain on this truck. He called Obed. He said, Obed, come here. What's this? Blood. How did the blood get on my truck? What did you, which animal did you kill? Obed was like, no. He was jittering, he was talking rubbish. And that was when the father put pressure on him, like, what are you talking about? There's a blood stain on my truck. And you're telling me that you don't know how it came there. Are you okay? You might be asking why the police did not even pay attention to Obed, like to ask him questions and question him, because everybody saw Obed with this girl last. Why wasn't the police attacking him? Why wasn't the police on his case? Maybe it's because he was so quiet and so cute, nobody pointed fingers at him, and also because the family was working with the police directly on, finding the daughter. So the police was getting information from the family, and the family, they were getting information from just sources that were... The police should have gone to the place where the girl lived and asked the neighbors. And I'm sure they would have gotten information to know who actually was with her last, which would lead them to Obed and solve this case even quicker. But no, they were listening to the family. And the family they are not detectives. Long story cut short, Obed's father began to deal with him. Talk to me, what happened? How did blood get on my truck? And before you know, Obed broke down and confessed to his father. He told his father, see, I didn't mean to do it. It got out of hand. She made me do it. She made you do what? Who made you do what? And then that's when he broke down. He told his father everything. The father was, first of all, in shock, but it was said that his father dragged him by the shirt, called the police, and told the police, look, this boy is my child, I love him, but look at the rubbish that this stupid boy did. Deal with him. When the housemates of Naledi heard this, they was like, this same Obed that comes to the house to cry every day, this same Obed that when he finished crying will cook food and give him to eat, this same Obed that is always asking us and disturbing us every day, this same Obed that we are always consoling, crying every day in our house. So he's the one that actually ended our life. Immediately the case went to court. There was so much proof against the guy. There was so much, he confessed to it. He showed them how he did it. He told them where there was so much proof. And so the case was not even like a hard case for the judge. He was convicted for first-degree murder and he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Now, there's a lot of outrage around his sentencing because 15 years is too small in many countries. At least they're supposed to be talking of 25 years. And even the 15 years they gave him, he has the possibility of parole. So if he even behaves well in the prison, they might free him earlier. They might free him. But that's the law in South Africa. Anytime that anything happens like this, it's always debated that the duration of the sentencing is always unfair and it doesn't match the actions. But you can't fight with law. The country has chosen what they want. It is sad that Naledi had to lose her life in this way. It is very disheartening that someone who gave you her heart, you did this to her and you disfigured her in this manner, uncalled for. But it is the kind of world we find ourselves in. It goes to tell everybody out there, be careful who you trust and do not judge a book by its cover, because at the end of the day, everybody is capable of anything. All you need to do is push them to the wall. What do you think about this story and what are your thoughts about this case? Let me know in the comment section. And if you haven't followed till now, I don't know what you're doing. I beg, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.